has any league in the history of sports shown its ass like the WNBA did. People wondered, why isn't anybody interested in the WNBA? And the reason is people like Kennedy Carter, people like that Carrington, people like Angel Reese, the women of the WNBA, hell, Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, the legends, showed themselves to be racist. They showed themselves to be sexist. They showed themselves to be petty. They showed themselves to be jealous. They showed themselves to be exactly what we kind of maybe thought that they were. How did they show themselves? Well, with the arrival of a calm, heterosexual white girl that kicked their ass. I mean, kicked their ass to the point of coming into the league, catching all kind of hell, and still becoming first-team All-League. Her name, of course, is Caitlin Clark. As we went through all of the drama of the WNBA year, every time anybody said a bad thing, after Angel Reese, the barnacle on Caitlin Clark's ass, takes off her clothes, she's victimized, sexualized, yet she keeps doing it. Every time somebody questioned anything about Caitlin Clark, like Christine Brennan did in asking a player, Carrington, if she poked Caitlin Clark in the eye intentionally, oh my God, it was met with vitriol. It was met with, how dare you? The WNBA made a lot of money this year. Didn't lose as much money this year and became a bit of a force in the summer because of one woman, Caitlin Clark. You would think that the good folks of the WNBA, you would think that the other players in the WNBA might, put aside their pettiness, their stupidity, their racism, and their sexism to come to the defense of Caitlin Clark when a stalker named Michael Lewis from Texas was arrested in Indianapolis. He had traveled from Texas to Indy, sending all kind of vile and violent sexually explicit messages all over the place, including on X. But here's the deal. The WNBA has not commented. Why not? This is your golden goose. Simple. We condemn any stalking, and we will make damn sure that our players are protected in every way, shape, or form. Sincerely, the WNBA. Interesting. No WNBA players have come out and said, boy, this is terrible. We must make sure that we are protected, blah, blah, blah. None. Zero. Zip. Why is that? They comment on everything. WNBA players can't keep their big racist, sexist mouths shut when it comes to Caitlin Clark. But when a guy gets arrested and is an insane guy in a courtroom, as this guy Michael Lewis was a day or two ago, nobody says nothing. Angel Reese gets a pimple, and she's bitching, whining, and moaning. Jamal Hill bitching, whining, and moaning when she wakes up, kicking and screaming, these sheets, why'd you put white sheets on my bed? We can't have white sheets. No, honest to God. Sports media, haven't heard from you. Not even a little bit. All the sports media has done is read the police report. Nobody's written big articles condemning. Where's Jamel Hill here? Where's Sarah Spain? No, see, you ain't down for the cause if you're pro Caitlin Clark. You're shown as a shill if you're for Caitlin Clark. It literally is the dumbest stuff you're ever going to find. But it's the WNBA. The dumbest people you're ever going to find are in the WNBA. How can you not come out and protect the golden goose? See, they don't look at it like the golden goose. They think 27 years of Diana Taurasi. What? They think 27 years of Brittany Griners. Huh? Wow. They didn't understand, or they don't understand, that the WNBA is a freaking joke without Caitlin Clark. More so now than ever because of what has been exposed. You know, all these folks demanded that Caitlin Clark, as a 22-year-old, take up for black women. We must stick up for black women. But boy, oh boy, you're awfully silent. All of you, awfully silent. As a stalker, a dangerous man, came up. I don't know how the hell far Texas is from Indiana, but let me just tell you, it ain't next door. None of you are saying a word. Why is that? Are you still that stupid? Are you still that jealous? Are you still that petty? What are you doing, Angel Reese? You still trying to see how little of fabric you can wear so somebody in your life actually pays attention to you? I mean, what are we doing? It's a golden goose. And it can happen to anybody. It can happen to any of the women of the WNBA. Where's the commissioner? Hey, we are not falling for this bullshit. You are not doing this to our players. We will protect. Well, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Women in sport. Here it is. Let's go through some of it. Some of the hypocrisy of the women in sports. Dejanay Carrington. Dejanay, okay. In June, 2 reporters from the New York Times asked Clark why she had not commented on the so-called mean tweets that Dejanay Carrington and Kennedy Carter received after hard fouling her on the court. So they asked Clark, why aren't you taking up for Dejanay Carrington or Kennedy Carter? 2 of the worst of the worst. Yeah, I think it's disappointing. People should not be using my name to push those agendas. Fair. However, Clark's answer was not good enough for Carrington. Of course not, because Carrington is an immature, jealous racist. Not even close. Dog. How one cannot be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia. Oh, man, she went through all of them. Where's misogyny? Oh, there it is. And the intersections, all of them is nuts. We all see the shit. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury. Wow, that's deep, man. I feel like snapping my fingers in a San Francisco coffee house in the 70s. Silence is a luxury. Oh, yeah. Where the hell are you guys? I mean, that's just some hard fouls. That's just some hateful tweets. Hell, I wake up in the morning and I get hateful tweets. I take a dump. I wipe my ass with hateful tweets. What are you talking about? Hateful tweets? How about a stalker? How about a lunatic screaming and yelling in court? Nah, we're not going to talk about that because she's a little white girl. Fair, however, Clark's answer was not good enough. We already talked about that. That's what Carrington, silence is a luxury, Carrington said on X. Dejanay Carrington, who incessantly posts about Clark on social media, has not acknowledged the man harassing Clark. Why? Because they're racist, insecure, sexist, crazy people. They're exactly what they showed themselves to be. What do they say? If somebody tells you who they are, believe them. I believe these women showed us exactly who they are this year, and I believe them. We're the ESPNers. Where are all you all who vilified Clark for not using her platform to stop the online hate that the women of color of the NBA face? Everybody faces online hate. What are you talking about? Where's David Dennis Jr., the son of a civil rights leader? Not a civil rights leader, the son of a civil rights leader. L. Duncan. I don't know what, whatever she is. Malika Andrews. Monica McNutt. Uchi Ugawali. They have nothing to say. Not one thing. Nothing. Haven't heard him say a word. I've looked. Why have I looked? Because I like to point out hypocrisy. I like to point out truth in a truthful way and hypocrisy. So I've looked. Haven't seen a thing. Nothing. Not a thing. Zero. Nor does the official, and this is the most disappointing, these other people are insecure, sexist, racist idiots. But the Players Association and the commissioner of the WNBA haven't said nothing. Now, there's an excuse. Well, there's an ongoing. No, shut up. Guy's in court. He's the only guy that the idiot prosecutor here is going to actually prosecute, Ryan Mears, because it's going to make him look good. He has pandered. In fact, he just let another dude out the other day with an incredibly light sentence on a murder rap. So Ryan Mears is going to make a big deal about this because he understands politics. That's the only thing he understands. Everything else is crap. But anyway, so this is a big deal. The Players Association hadn't said anything. The commissioner hadn't said anything. All these heroes, these women warriors on ESPN haven't said anything. Other players haven't said anything, and it just shows you once again the jealousy is still there. You know, it is kind of funny. The women in sports, the Chicago Sky, they put a race hoax out there. A bunch of white people attacked them coming off a bus after the, push of Caitlin Clark. In June, the WNBA community at large rallied behind Angel Reese and her teammates following an alleged incident outside a team hotel. Reese, once again lying on social media that Clark, a Clark fan, harassed this guy while walking off the bus. She said he then blocked the women from entering the hotel while repeatedly calling them ghetto bitches. Obviously, this all turned out to be a lie. Another hoax. Subsequently, a released video showed the man in question was doing none of that. The Sky's own general manager, Jeff Palagocci, confirmed a week later that the man had only approached Carter with a camera, as the video shows. Still, the contradictory evidence didn't stop the press, other WNBA players, and bitter former players like Cheryl Swoops from feigning outrage over the incident. They used it as proof that black WNBA women are in danger. Danger of what? Being bad basketball players, missing another layup? What, are you insane? Danger? Please. There's no danger. The only danger is them screwing up something that for the first time in 27, now 28 years is actually going good for that bullshit league. Now, seriously, it is. The only danger is being so stupid and not protecting the only thing that people want to watch. Practice facilities are being built. All of a sudden, commercial airlines are not being flown. Why? One person, Caitlin Clark. And these jealous, sexist, racist women can't stand it. No matter the gifts given, they want more and they want credit. Not a soul ever heard of Kennedy or whatever the hell her name is, Carter, other than her family, or Dejanay, Carrington. Now, Reese, you had heard of because of her win a couple of years ago in the NCAA tournament. But she's gone away, other than to say that she hasn't. See what I did there? She's gone away, but she'll tell you she hasn't. She'll keep taking off her clothes and hoping somebody notices, while Caitlin Clark simply sits back, goes to professional volleyball games with her boyfriend, and is laughing all the way to the bank. I don't think this is a beef. My boys here say beef. I don't think it's a beef. Two friends of the program, Urban Meyer, who coached Ohio State, to this is so funny to me, one of their only two national championships since 1970. Did you know that? Yet they still worry about beating Michigan. Yeah, I don't know. Is defending Buckeye fans that Curb Street labeled as the lunatic fringe. There is a lunatic fringe in every fan base. Oh, man, Bloomington's got it. I'm not even feeling. I'm laughing at it. It's kind of funny. Here's a throwback to Herbie calling out First Take during the Tennessee-Ohio State game.
He's heard about it.
Now, Kirk, how much of this softens the blow of that Michigan loss? More work to do, right, for folks to forgive and forget that one?
I can't speak on behalf of the lunatic fringe. I'm not sure how they operate. Yeah, the lunatic fringe at Ohio State is as powerful as anywhere in the country.
How big is the fringe?
It used to be 8 to 10. I think it's grown now to about 15 to 20. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll be happy tonight, be fired up about what the Ohio State team did, but God forbid they lose to Oregon. They may want to fire him again.
But that's not reality.
Here's the deal. It is reality. I mean, that is the reality. There's going to be a lunatic fringe that wanted Ryan Day fired. I think it's more than that, though. I think it's a lot of people. But I don't even know if it's a lunatic fringe. See, I've always said this. The reason I went to play basketball at Indiana, I kind of thought they were better athletes than me since I couldn't touch the rim at 6'5". But I also thought to myself, yeah, I can go somewhere else, probably play more, but why wouldn't I challenge myself against the best and the most passionate? You know, Indiana the other day saw the idiot students at Indiana chant "Fire Woodson." I mean, Indiana's 13-5. It's not like this has been a great program in the last 25 years, but they want to fire Woodson. They're booing the players. They're idiots. But there's nothing you can do to stop idiots when they become idiots. There's nothing you can do at all. You can call them lunatic fringe, which I do. I just call them idiots. I mean, I call them East Coast dumbasses or Northern Chicago idiots. That's what I do. But, hey, that's just me. Anyway, at Ohio State, it's probably tripled. Urban, though. Urban's going to defend the fan base, kind of like I usually do. This is how I was when I was a player. I wanted to play in front of the passionate fans, but now I see the stupidity. But Urban's not wrong here either. I'll tell you this is one of those rare things where Herbie's right. They would have wanted to fire him. And Urban's right, defending him, because when good, the lunatic fringe fans make it a hell of a place to play football and a hell of a place, as I was talking about with Indiana, basketball. Here we go.
And I'm going to speak about the Ohio State fan base. Are they rugged? Are they tough? Are they high expectations? They expect you to win every game. They expect you to beat your rival and win a national championship. I'll help you. You're damn right they do. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, every person that puts on a scarlet and gray helmet better believe demand that they do too, because that's not for the timid. And I'm biased because I'm from the great state of Ohio, where football was born into your blood. You realize when you're born in Columbus, Ohio, they give you a beat the team up north shirt. The baby has a beat the team up north. Mm. And people say that's insanity. I agree with you.
I love it.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
I love it.
But I tell you one thing, you can never worry about an open seat at Ohio Stadium. The expectations will never change. No, there's no media member. There's no assistant coach. There's no one that's ever going to say, you know what, we got to temper this down a little bit. It's not the way it works. Right. Same thing. There's not a player going to come in. These guys are loud here. I dropped a ball or I fumbled or I did this. Man, they're pissed off and my social media is getting attacked. I know. I mean, don't drop the ball. So I love passionate fan bases because I've seen the opposite. I'm very defensive of the Ohio State fan base because I'm one of them. I grew up a Buckeye. I understand football is a way. It's not a pastime. America's pastime? No. It's a way of life.
See, I think both guys are right. I think absolutely both guys are right. I do think there's a lunatic fringe that wants you fired no matter what, and I do think the passion is awesome. And I always try to compare that with Indiana. See, Indiana's a little player. We had a little kid named Luke Goody who came at me on Twitter. Hey, you don't want me to go at you? You don't want me to? Don't lose by 25. Don't quit. Simple. Because I have a lot of pride in the Indiana basketball program. You don't want to lose. You don't want me to come at you. A former player, one of only two two-time captains during the Bob Knight era. You don't want me to call you out with a venom and a passion? Don't lose by 25 twice in a row. Don't lose by 25 at home. Don't be down 60-32 at home. Nobody will come at you. Hell, we'll kiss your ass. You'll get more NIL money. But that's the way the world works. See, the world of Indiana basketball, Ohio State football, Michigan football, Florida, all that kind of stuff, is where fans don't really care who's in the uniform. They care about what happens to that guy in that uniform. Number 11 at Indiana started with Isaiah Thomas, and right now we got a fat center who's, plays, gets good numbers, that kind of stuff. But my point is it goes all the way from a little point guard to a big old center. And myself, Dane Five, all kinds, Todd Jadlow, a bunch of guys in between. So it isn't necessarily, hey, look, I love this guy or that guy. It's what you do when you're on the court of the field. Now, the lunatic fringe comes in when you want to fire the coach who's got a 90% winning percentage. That's when the lunatic fringe comes in. That's when it moves beyond passion to stupidity. Now, you could also argue that is passion. But, of course, it's senseless passion. It's lunacy. You're going to get somebody that's going to win more than 90%. And the answer to that at Ohio State is, of course, well, you can't lose to Michigan. No, you're probably right. You can't lose to them 4 times. You're probably right. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, and this stunned me, I don't know, first and foremost, how you temper it down. Like I was telling somebody, and I've told this story many times, I got 75 cents worth of coins thrown at me, and I picked up coming off when I had 4 fouls in the first half of a game at Purdue. That's right. Knight left me in because we were playing great, and he figured, oh, hell, let's get up at halftime. I don't need Dakich anyway, so we'll keep him in there. And next thing you know, I get my 4th foul. Knight takes me out in the first half, and people are throwing coins at me, and I loved it. I told Alfred, I got 75 cents here. It's pretty good. We can get a Coke. Anyway, I understand a rivalry as well as anybody. But there is a lunatic fringe, and there is an incredible, passionate fan base, and I saw it for myself at the Ohio State-Indiana game. I've never been into the shoe. I'm like, whoa, this is pretty cool. I like it. I like an argument that I can get down with both sides. I like an argument where I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with that, what Herbie said. You know what? I'm cool with that, what Urban said. Because I'm cool with both of them, and I understand there's a bit of difference. I told Urban yesterday, you guys are nuts. You're insane. Lunatics. Got 2 national champions. You beat Michigan 50 times since 1970. You only got 2 national championships since 70. Win a national championship. I understand you can do both, by the way. I'll give you a story. 1992. We win at Purdue, a bad Purdue team. Then we're Big Ten champs, probably number 1 seed. We don't win. We lose. Bad Purdue team gets us. We got pros, man. We lose. Anyway, next thing you know, Knight walks home from the airport about 5 miles to his house. We got chaos, and we end up going to the Final Four. People talk about the Final Fours at Indiana. 1992 is among them, lost to Duke. Tough game. But they don't talk about the Purdue loss. Maybe Indiana's not lunatics. I don't know. Because I think if Ohio State wins a national championship, I think people are going to say, yeah, well, even Ohio fans, yeah, well, you didn't beat Michigan. I do. This is pretty funny. This is good. I'm going to give you a good ESPN story. Burke Magnus is the vice president. Burke Magnus is pretty much second in command behind Jimmy Pitaro at ESPN. Burke Magnus sits in one of those buildings I've talked about, Building 4 on the top floor with a nice office overlooking the campus. He's a very nice man. I've been at dinners with him. He says not airing the moment of silence, the national anthem before the Sugar Bowl, after the New Orleans terrorist attack was a terrible mistake, terrible, and a horrible error, and says we should be held to account for it. You know, that's pretty good because ESPN has a policy, yeah, we're not responding to any of your stupidity. Go ahead and say stupid stuff, but we ain't responding. You know, every time Bobby Barack or Danny Z or one of our reporters reaches out to ESPN on an issue, you know, never hear back. ESPN didn't respond to our request. Well, good for Burke Magnus for responding, because this is a little bit bigger than sports. This is something where you really could get the American people turned on you. American people don't care enough about El Duncan or Chimichanga or Stephen A. Smith or Mike Greenberg or Jeff Saturday or any of the clowns you see on TV. They don't care enough about that to really go away. But they do care when their country is being disrespected. And clearly, before the Sugar Bowl, the country was disrespected by not playing the anthem and certainly not playing the moment of silence. It was, as Magnus said, a horrible error, a terrible decision. Here's Burke Magnus.
I know there's a little bit of controversy regarding you guys not covering the anthem in New Orleans for the game. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Let me just say this. There's a group of people in Bristol who just made an enormous mistake. It was a human error. It happens. I don't want to minimize it by any stretch. But as you noted, like nothing was normal about that next day, including our programming lineup, where we normally would have had College Game Day and that crew leading into the game. It wasn't that. It was Sports Center, which is done out of Bristol instead of inside. I could give you a whole host of reasons why it was not the normal circumstance. But at the end of the day, that was just a horrible error that was made by a group of really well-intentioned people who feel terrible about it. I lost my father over the holiday break, and he was an Army veteran, and there was nothing more important to him than his military service. My parents took my sisters and I to West Point every single week. We had season tickets to Army football growing up. The notion that was somehow intentional or we were trying to avoid acknowledging what was a horrific situation in New Orleans was really misplaced. It was just a mistake that we feel terrible about. And by the way, we should be held to account for, right? Like we want to be as good as we can possibly be at all times. And even though it was not a normal situation, our traffic got fouled up, our timing got fouled up. We happened to be in commercial break when the anthem happened. It was just not good by any measuring stick and not up to our standards. I think what you have seen since then in terms of the other CFP games are NFL games in Week 18 in the wild card. Like, we're not avoiding the anthem, quite the opposite. It's a special moment for all sports fans at big events. And, you'll see the same treatment in the college football championship game coming up on Monday.
Yeah, what you heard is a bunch of bullshit. No, I'm just telling you. I mean, because you can direct it. And I know the director, and he had nothing to do with it. You just heard a bunch of bullshit. You just heard a bunch of Burke Magnus taking his time to get with lawyers The question was set. Don't tell me that, well, I'm glad you asked it. Stop. He had the answer set. He had rehearsed this with lawyers. He doesn't sit up there and just come up with it's a bunch of bullshit. They know. I know these people. They know that by doing that, they could really lose audience. You're never going to hear them talk about mistakes in human error and all that stuff in any other vein. I guarantee you this. You're never going to hear that, ever, out of Burke Magnus, second in command. They never. And Aaron and the rest of the guys that used to work at ESPN that are now here will tell you I'm absolutely right about this. When people ask for comments, even comments like the stupidity of Elle Duncan mislabeling and breaking into a women's basketball game over her version of Don't Say Gay. Nobody cared about it during a women's NCAA tournament game pre-Caitlin Clark. But when you have the entire nation, the military, victims of terrorist attacks, you don't honor them at a sporting event in that same city by showing the moment of silence, by showing the national anthem, I'm telling you, that is a problem that a PR firm, their PR firm, gets involved with. And listen to this. You may not believe me. Ratings are down in college football. Like, people can't believe. I've seen Clay talk about this all the time. Ratings are down. They weren't what they thought they were going to be. And the question is why? Now, people are saying, well, you had to move the one game. Okay, all right. Maybe. But ESPN looks at him. It's no coincidence that Burke Magnus came out with this after we saw the ratings for the college football playoff. They realize, hold on a second, nobody gives a shit about Elle Duncan, truly. Nobody gives a shit about Stephen A. Smith, truly. Nobody gives a shit about Greenberg's show or the idiots on there or Sarah Spain. Nobody truly cares about them. But you go against, on the next day, 2 days later, whatever it was, you go against the patriotic feel of the United States of America sport fan by not showing an anthem and by not showing a moment of silence to honor those that died in a terrorist attack. Now you're at the core of America. All this other stuff is way out here. Now, nobody cares. Stephen A. Smith says somebody's a racist. Who cares? But when you talk about the military and people's lives being lost, it's right here. It's no coincidence that Burke Magnus came out and did that. I guarantee you that statement that he made was set up in that interview, and his statement was after a long consultation with lawyers, PR firms, and the such. Guaranteed. They'll lie. They'll say no, but I know how this works. 1,000%. See, this is the crap that nobody really cares about. We talk about it, but this kind of stupidity out of Stephen A. Smith, once again showing he's more of an effeminate male, nobody really cares. It's funny. Okay, Stephen A. Smith. But here's the deal. So now woke loudmouth Stephen A. Smith, he is claiming that the clip of Barack Obama joking with Donald Trump at Jimmy Carter's funeral was bad for everyone. No, it wasn't. No, it was really good for everyone. Taking issue with the fact that Obama and the Democrats painted Trump as a fascist and Nazi and then are caught on camera acting like they're buddy-buddy with the president-elect. Hey, Stephen, take this hand. Take this hand. Reach down between your legs and see if there's a penis and a set of nuts. I don't know if there is or not. I mean, you're awfully effeminate, all the yelling and all that stuff, but do that. Reach down between your legs and see if there's a dick and a set of nuts. And I'm betting there might be, but it ain't very big, and I'll tell you why. Because dudes that are uber successful, that have the great American penis and a big set of nuts, they don't give a rat's ass about what you call them. This ain't 12-year-old bullshit. This ain't none of that. This is uber successful men that have dealt with shit. Somebody says something about Stephen A. Smith like I did about how he is leading the African-American crew against McAfee, and I know this is, McAfee's on the outside. He takes to his podcast because he gets offended. These dudes don't do that. They don't do that even a little bit. You call me anything you want. They see each other. Yo, man, saw you called me Hitler. Yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, all right. Hey, how's your wife? How's your kids? Steven, do this. Take this right hand of yours. Maybe you're left-handed. And feel down there. Is there something there right between the legs? Because apparently there is. And here's Smith.
Was it a good look for Barack Obama? No. On its face, no. Civility is the order of the day. These are two, one's a former president, one's the president-elect. And so there is a relationship to some degree that, everybody should have. We get that. We understand that. Some would say Michelle Obama was more representative than anything because, she wasn't sitting next to him, wasn't there. You look at it from this perspective. Here's my thing. It wasn't a good look, but it wasn't a good look because of Trump. It wasn't a good look because of all the things that were said about Trump during the campaign while you were trying to convince tens of millions of people to vote for Kamala Harris. Fascist, threat to democracy, people bringing up Nazis and all of this stuff when they talked about Trump. So maybe if you hadn't said all of those things, people wouldn't be going off like this. See, to me, I look at it totally, totally differently. I look at it from this standpoint. Everything goes in politics. We understand that. But in the end, it just shows how we should be very selfish in our thinking in terms of us and what's in the best interest of the country, as opposed to listening to what the hell these politicians say, because we just can't trust them. We just can't trust them. The likelihood is that Obama didn't mean half the things that he alluded to or flat out said about Trump. Maybe Hillary Clinton did. Maybe Michelle Obama did. But Barack Obama himself, probably not.
What are we, 12? What are you, 10? Well, I mean, what? Oh, man, he hurt my feelings in the playground. Steven, take your left hand, grab down there, see if you got some nuts. You clearly don't. I mean, you can yell and scream and all that kind of stuff. See, this is the stuff that I was talking about as the reason, I hope you can understand me here, as the reason Burke Magnus made this apology. This kind of stuff is like, yeah, okay, great, man. I mean, a guy, I understand it. Guy's got to fill time, get some clicks. But, Steven, this hand, take the right hand. See if there's anything. There's not. I mean, dudes can handle things. Dudes can handle being cussed at, screamed at, punched at, and then dudes become dudes. So if you think this is some bad thing, just see if you got it. And if you do have a set of nuts, then grab them tight. Hold on to them, and it'll come to you. That if you're not a little pussy boy and you're like, well, he said this about me. That's great when you're 12. That's great when you're 16. Dude. You think Donald Trump, who has dealt with the most powerful, most corrupt business people all across the world trying to fuck him at every moment, you think he gives a rat's ass what some nerdy little president who never had a job like Barack Obama says about him? Please. He may care at the time, may reach out, but when you see, hey, man, how you doing? Good, how you doing? That's the way I live. I'm not saying I'm right. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is more, like I said, grab and see if there's any nuts. He's more like Kamala Harris, who sat there and just stewed, or her little effeminate husband, Doug Emmert, the guy that impregs a nanny and then has an abortion and is considered by some to be the optimal new male. I mean, we're not talking to him. I can't believe. I mean, see, this is what I've said about Stephen A. Smith. He's trying so hard to act like a guy. But the effeminate energy is amazing to me. I mean, they just sit there and laugh. I mean, guys will crush each other so publicly. You see me go, hey, all right. No biggie. That's unbelievable. Right hand. Anytime, let this be a lesson to all you guys. Anytime you want to act like a 10-year-old or you want to act like a scorned woman like Kamala Harris, take your hand, reach down there, actually put it inside your pants and give a good squeeze and see what happens. It's unbelievable to me. No, it's unbelievable. All right, let's see where we got here. The absolute effing worm that is Senator Chuck Schumer, who lies for a living and can't cook a hamburger. That was really funny. gets rightfully blasted for his Pete Hegseth comment after the Democrats embarrassed themselves bad. I mean, I know a lot of those women can't grab down there and know there's a set of nuts, but damn, did they act like the stereotypical what dudes that are married for 20 years say women are? Now, I love women, but dudes that have been married 20 years will tell you all I hear is blah, 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 right? That's what dudes always say. And that's all Hegseth had to hear. But Chuck Schumer, he ain't having it, man. No. He's saying he's woefully unfit and unqualified for the job of Secretary of Defense. Really? Well, let the Twitter backlash begin, boys. Roll tape here. Let's see what we got. It's unbelievable. No, seriously, it's unbelievable. Who's next? Who's up first? There you go. Chuck Schumer, there you go, wanted and voted to confirm this psychopath. This is a dude dressed as a chick leading our Defense Department. Look at this. But that guy's unfit? Yeah, my ass. Next. Roll tape. Just keep it coming. Look at that. The one guy with the dog fetish. I mean, look at these crazy-ass people. This dude is one of the other guys. Show the guy who had the nuclear codes who was dressed up in a dress with lipstick who ended up stealing Vera Bradley gear. Where's his sorry little douchebag ass? But Pete Hegseth? Pete Hegseth isn't? Next! Pete Hegseth isn't fit? Really? Look at this guy. I mean, hey, how are you? I'm Chuck. I got little titties. I'm going to cook. See the burger? It's frozen. But I'm doing a Labor Day or Memorial Day thing. Hey, look at his face on me. Where I'm acting like I'm cooking. I'm acting like I'm real mad. You can't even know how to grill.